Hello crafters, I'm JanB and I'm an independent Stampin' Up demonstrator. Today I'd like to show you how I made this card. It was one of the cards that I made for my week 5 challenge, which was to make a card each day using the Bird Builder punch for a different purpose rather than just making a bird. And this card uses the bird's wing for the ears on Piglet here. So the card pieces that you're going to need, I've done as much of this in advance as possible because it's quite a time consuming card to do. So you start off with a card base of Melon Mambo, which measures 8 1/4 by 5 3/4 inches, scored and folded down the middle. Then you need a piece of Whisper White, which measures 4 inches by 5 5/8 inches. A layer of Design Series paper stack. This is the old design, and that measures 3 7/8 inches by 5 1/2 inches. You will also need some scraps of pink Pirouette and Melon Mambo cardstock, and you'll also need a piece of Melon Mambo that is at least 3 1/4 inches by 5 inches, a piece of pink Pirouette that is at least 2 3/4 inches by 4 1/2 inches, and a piece of Whisper White that is at least 2 1/4 inches by 3 3/4 inches. That's to do all of these layers here. All the other bits and pieces I'll tell you as we go along. So I've done that. The first piece I'm going to do is these layers here. To save time, I have done the 2 biggest layers, but I will do this one on screen in front of you. So I bring over my big shot and I am using the Lots of Labels Framelits dies, and I'm using sizes 5, 6 and 7. As always, I start counting from the inside. The smaller the die, the smaller the number. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I've already done 6 and 7. And I will take my piece of Whisper White, lay it onto my nice new shiny cutting mat and place that on top. Remember, with the Stampin' Up dies, the actual cutting edge is on the inside with their framelits, so as long as the inside fits onto your cardstock, you're good to go. That's moved. This is the only disadvantage of having pieces so small, so where I say to you it must be at least, you may want to make your pieces a bit bigger so that they don't go walkabouts once you've put the second cutting platform on. Okay, I mean that's pretty close. You obviously could make it bigger if you feel happier doing so. Right, so that's that. Let's pop that away. And then I'm going to do the paper piercing, and the paper piercing that I'm using, don't need that yet, is the updated Essentials. You get 3 sheets, so you get this one which includes circles. Not quite sure why they didn't draw the black lines on those, but you get straight lines as well. The flower and the arrow, you get those little ones, and this is what I'm using. And here you've got For You, and also Happy, Hello, and also a design on there. I don't know if you could see that on there, can you? Let's have a look, see if I can get this up to the screen so that you can see it. Yeah, just about. Okay. I really think these are brilliant things to have. Oops. Well, that one's just hit the deck. Never mind. It can stay there. Okay, so pop that on there. This doesn't take long to do, and the effect of it is certainly worth the couple of minutes. When you're doing this, just make sure that you hold on to the actual, what would you call this? Template, I suppose. Hold on to it nice and tight, because the pressure if you keep putting your paper piercer into the holes can make it move very slightly, and I have made my paper piercing on some of these be off. In fact, I think there's one that I can show you on the card that I've showed you earlier. I don't mind sharing my mistakes with you. There we go. Okay, so that actually stayed in place all the time. Let's move that out of the way. There we go. If I show you this one, on that pink one there, you see, I just about came off the edge on that one. Right, you can come back now. So with these three, I'm going to adhere the three together using Tombow, and I'm just using, not just using, I'm putting glue on the side that the bumps are coming through, so I've got the smooth side facing up, and it's white onto pale pink. And then the pale pink onto the darker pink. Okay, so that's that, and then that can come onto my card straight away as well. I've always enjoyed doing punch art. I think it's really quite a clever thing to do. I'll show you the page that I've made up for myself as well, because I keep these. I have a little folder of them, so that I know next time if I want to make it, I've already got all the bits. In fact, I say I'm going to show it. Oh, there it is. Right, let me just stretch across to get it. Okay, so this is what I do with my punch art. I punch out and all the bits that I need, label them, not that I'm likely to forget I might forget which one that comes from, and then I draw lines on the bits where I know that I'm going to be cutting off. So you may want to copy that idea as well. So with my scraps, I really have brought scraps over with me. Okay, so that's these. I'll do the pale pink ones first. So what I need is the owl builder punch. So I need the body. I also need the heart, but I don't need the eyes, the big eyes. So I'll do those there. So I've got the owl and those bits. I need the heart as well. Those bits I don't, that I do. Let's get rid of that bit. What else do I need? I need the two small eyes. I'm going to use that for the thingy. Right, okay, so I'm just going to pop a little piece of card in there. Okay. Those two are quite easy to lose, so that's more rubbish. And I need an apple from the Builder Tree punch. So just pop that one into there. So that's the apple. That's the rubbish. and the word window. Now I need one complete, and then I need 2 small pieces. Now with the 2 small pieces, you need them smaller than what I've actually shown on here. Let me bring that back so you can see what I'm talking about. I've shown it here that they're almost like half of that, but you don't even need that. I don't know, what's that, half an inch? About 5/8 of an inch long. So there's that one. Pop that in again for another one. There we go. And then we need one complete one. And I think that's it, isn't it? So now for the Melon Mambo, what I need is an owl, and I need the 2 eyes, which is directly above him. I need those 2. And then I need the 2 little ones here. Let's get rid of the rubbishy bits. And then just the 2 bird wings. Okay, so it's nice that it's right near the top of the punch. Notice how I use really scrappy scraps. Got another piece stuck in there. Okay, I don't think I'm going to get much more out of that one, am I? Nor that one. Nor that. Right, I think that should be everything. In fact, I've just thought, I've decided this time I'm going to use try googly eyes on this one. Right, now let's do the 2 owl bits first. And we're going to cut the feet off. Just follow the line round, and then cutting the ears off, I find it easier to start from the top of the head and then just follow round in a little curve, turn it over, and then do the same with the other one. Cut his feet off, and then the ears, and just follow round. Okay. Oops, try and get rid of the eyes now, come back. So what else do we need to do with the apple? Where are you? The apple just needs to be cut straight across the top. I need to tidy that up as well. Okay, so all I'm going to do now is ink all the edges. So with the, let's do the pink Pirouette first. I'll do the top of the head just in case a little bit of it does peep through. Don't need that one. Apple. Now on this, the word window punch piece, which is for the arms, I recommend that you do both sides of it, because on the left arm we're going to be folding it over. If you're more confident in yourself than I am in me, you may just think, well, it's only half needs to be done, but I know what I'm going to do. I'll cut the half off, or at least I'll put the right hand side onto the left hand side, and the right hand side will have the other bit that I've done the sponging on. So that's that one. Let's have one leg. Don't need to do the top of that. Nor that. Now this little heart. Okay, so that's that. And I'm not going to be using those tiny little eyes because I want to try the googly eyes this time. Right, now let's do the Melon Mambo. I think I really need to treat myself to a new dauber here. I'm getting a little bit furry, see that? There's that, the ears. Now bearing in mind that the ears are going to be going that way, so that's, make sure you ink a sponge one of either side. I'm not going to try and ink those two tiny little bits for the snout. Okay, so that's that. Now the fun bit begins. One more little bit I would like to do, and that is I'm going to stamp across the body with a stamp from the Gorgeous Grunge set. It's this one here that I'm going to be using. So that's going to represent Piglet's stripy bits. Okay, so what I'll do, I think the whole lot, so what I'll do is the bottom half I'll do with this part of the stamp, and then I'll move it along for the top part. Then it gives me the whole thing stamped without having to re-ink. Okay, so that's fine. Now, first of all, I'm going to put the body on, and I have to say, if I get myself in a mess with ink, it's always the reds or pinks. So bear with me. I do have a wet one here, baby wipe. I will keep trying to mop up, see if I can keep myself clean. Right, so that's the first bit. I'm going to use Tombow for gluing. So first of all, to get the head onto the body, just need a little bit of glue there. And when you put that on, do it so that on his body you can see where the curve is going up and very slightly starts coming out again. That's how I judge where the head should be on there. Can you see how that's coming out there? Okay, so the ears, I do it so that I'm not really quite sure, the hooky bit I suppose on the ear goes on to the inside. Or maybe the straight side of the wing goes on the outside, like that straight bit there. Next we put on the legs, just a little bit on top here. I tend to stick them on at oh dear, I could say a slight angle. It looks like he's doing splits. Not that far, come on. There we go, that's okay. So what will we do next? Let's do the eyes. And then the snout. And then the little bits little nostrils on his snout is so difficult, these little bits, like I did with the previous video. I just put a little bit of glue down. I normally use a plastic, one of the clear mounts, but this is just such a tiny amount that I'm not going to worry about it. Okay, so for the arm I'm going to cut this in half. And one of them I'm going to curl, because we're going to finish up folding this, so he's holding on to, she's holding on to the string for the balloon. Okay, so that'll be that one. A bit of glue there. Oops. There we go. So far so good. Right, I'm going to try these googly eyes here. These were from Stampin' Up. I think it was a couple of years ago. They did these as part of a special thing that they were doing for Halloween. Don't know, what do you think? Well, I don't know. The children seem to love things like that, don't they? So the next thing is to do the string. Now, I'll show you what I do. We used to do this as children. I've got a piece of linen thread that's about 20 inches long. And what I do, put the two ends together, tie it in a knot, bring the knot as close to the end as possible, and then put two fingers through, but hold the knot in place, because if you don't, it's going to go walkabouts. And then just turn that finger, okay, slowly, it's just going round, okay, but holding this one tight. And as it gets twisted more tightly, it gets shorter, and then eventually when you feel that it's squeezing onto this finger, in fact that one's getting difficult to move now, try and grab it about halfway, and then as you, oh, I've left it too tight. I can't get it off now. Help. Don't let it go that tight. Right, okay. So you get the two ends, and then you see that shouldn't have happened. And then as you, okay, so I've got those two ends together. I'm going to let this one go and it will spin together. Okay, so I've got a nice thickness here. You may decide that you can't be bothered with that, and to be honest, I wouldn't blame you. Right, okay, so that will be, yep, that's fine. So I'm going to stamp my sentiment on another piece of cardstock. Have I got enough room here? I think so. Although, no, let's get a bigger piece, because that means I've got to struggle to get the sentiment right, in precisely the right spot, and I'm not confident about that. So Melon Mambo, the sentiment I'm using is Happy Birthday Wishes, and that comes from the petite pairs. These are all as sets. One's for the outside of your card, the other one's from the inside of the card. Covers all sorts of events. It's a really useful set to have. Right, so what we've got here, Happy Birthday Wishes. And then I'm going to punch that out with the 1 1/4 inch circle punch. Just get that nicely centered. I think I did sponge that as well, didn't I? So let's take the light pink sponge. Let's see if I can get all round without having to re-ink it. I think I can. There we go. That looks good. Right, now my little heart is going at the bottom for that little bit that where the balloon has been done up. So just a tiny little blob of glue. Position that in the centre. Tweezers. There we go. Just give that a few seconds to dry, making sure that it's not sticking to the grid paper. Now to get this onto here, what I did, I want one layer to come over the front like that, and then I want the cord to come down underneath the bottom there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to glue this piece up here first. Oops, what's that? That must have been sitting in the lid. Let me just get rid of that first. There we go. So some Tombow there that's going to hold those two pieces for me. Okay, so just make sure they actually go in there. In fact, I'm going to cut that the knot off once it's stuck down with the glue. It's not going to come undone. Okay, just hold that for a few seconds. That looks as if it's going to hold now. Turn it around that way. Oh dear, I've gone too tight on that. Let's try again. not sticking. Oh, a bit of you is, isn't it? But not all of it. Let's try again. And you just need that to come down, that's better. Yes, much better. Looks a bit loose from the front. I wonder if I can tighten that up. Or shall I leave well alone? I think I'll leave well alone. In the scheme of things, it's not going to make too much difference to anything, is it? Okay, so I'll have some dimensionals. In fact, that's a good idea. Let's pop one on there. I'll have two more. But before I pop that on, let's put Piglet on. So to do Piglet, I'm not using dimensionals for him. I think with 3 layers for the, well, 2 layers on the card base and 3 layers for the central bit, I think that's quite a lot of layers, quite a lot of dimension there already. Okay, with his feet, what I do is I make them come to this bottom bit here, like that. And just let the rest follow. Okay, I made sure that I didn't put glue on the back of this arm. Okay, so I just take this off. That one was already off. Pop that down. And now for this one, I'm just going to use a very small piece. And all I'm doing is just taking that very, oops, corner piece. That was, okay, it landed on my chair. I take one piece, another piece, and then with this dimensional, put it on his inside of his hand, as close to the edge as you can, and then hold that over, and then just bring that down. Okay, so there you have it. There's your card. Okay, a bit fiddly, but if you enjoy doing punch art, if you've got somebody who really loves Piglet, you'd like to do them a card, this is a great one to do. Okay, so that's my card this time. That was the one that I showed you, and this is the one that I posted to my blog the other day. Different colours. This was rose, red and blushing bride, but otherwise same card. Thank you for watching my video. If you have any questions, please contact me, because as always I will be happy to help you. If you've enjoyed my video, please subscribe to my YouTube channel by clicking on the subscribe button to the right hand side of the screen, or it may be underneath your screen. If you'd like to buy any products that I featured here today, please click on the 24/7 link that's on my screen. Many thanks for joining me today. Until next time, happy crafting. Cheerio.